I love it when you can find a great basketball shoe that is not a basketball shoe. Hey, what's good guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got something real cool because we got a brand new pair of signature sneakers. It's from New Balance, but they're not basketball shoes, even though they are court shoes. So technically you can actually use these on a basketball court, more specifically an outdoor basketball court. So these right here are the New Balance Coco CG1. These feel awesome. So we're gonna talk about them a little bit. On top of that, they came with this really cool card that I feel like should come with every shoe, especially when they're new, especially when they're a signature, especially when it's a performance shoe, because it's showing you like the pride that went into the sneaker. You know what I mean? Like all the effort, step by step. So I absolutely love it when brands do that. I don't like it when certain brands don't do that because they're the #1 brand and #2 brand, and they should be doing that. It's very simple. Like it's just paper. But I absolutely love the little breakdown because it shows me everything that went into this shoe, so I don't have to sit here and guess and all that stuff. Like, it's awesome. So this is a hard court sneaker, so it's for the harder tennis court surfaces, not the softer ones or the gravelly ones. And with that you get really thick, super cool looking traction. It's kind of in a radial pattern, but not like in a straight up circle, you know what I mean? But it is like a almost like a pressure mat, but like expanded and everything, not as tight as what you would see on something like the KD15s. However, it does look similar to, I can't remember the model, but it was like a great outdoor basketball shoe also. At least the outsole looks similar, not the pattern itself, but it was the other New Balance. There's a fuel cell something. Yeah, I know.
I thought you were talking about that Nike tennis shoe we did that one time.
No, that was one of the ones where like I think, was that in the middle of the pandemic?
Yes.
So yeah, so like basketball shoes weren't really coming out. I was looking for something to like useful content, not just like dumb content. And I was just like, oh yeah, you can play. Cause like one of the #1 questions that we get here is like, what's the best basketball shoe for outdoors? And I know that for those of us that live here in the United States, like that's typically not a question that we ask because we have access to 24-hour fitness or LA Fitness or City Sports or whatever, you know, Lifetime, all that stuff, whatever the indoor gyms are. We even got like little small ones here and there that are in like warehouses and stuff. So here in the States, finding an indoor gym nowadays at least isn't a big problem. But for most people outside of the United States, like outdoors is their primary source. That's where I do question, like, are these available outside the US? That I don't know. I hope that they are, but if they aren't, I'm sure that you can find them on like GOAT, StockX, eBay, and if they're not on there, then I mean, I don't know. But anyways, the outsole looks awesome. It looks like it'll perform really well. Again, it's in a radial style pattern, so it looks like it'll work really well with lateral movements specifically, which are very similar to basketball movements. So again, if you were looking for something, you know, that's gonna last, it's gonna be durable on an outdoor surface, tennis, believe it or not, is the way to go, or a way to go, not the way. Now, as you guys can see, some of this is translucent. It's to actually showcase what's in the shoe. Again, this little card that it came with, I really hope that this card comes. Like, this doesn't look like a special package or anything, so I hope that this card comes with the shoe on retail releases. But basically, this yellow portion that you see is an additional foam wedge, and it's a much softer foam than the rest of the foam that they use, which is fuel cell. However, the fuel cell itself feels awesome. Like, this feels like some of the best fuel cell I've personally felt in a long time. That's not part of the running category. The running stuff is like some of my favorite. But basically, this little wedge right there is super soft, so it's got a lot of impact protection right there at your strike zones, at least when you are planting hard within this section of your foot. The rest of everything is like major court feel and everything. And yes, tennis courts, basketball courts, badminton courts, I mean, racquetball, handball, whatever court you're using, court feel is the thing that you want in your forefoot. And that's where the rest of this is basically allowing you to do that. But the fuel cell midsole is allowing you to get cushion with every step. And then sandwiched in between the wedge and then the fuel cell midsole is, it's kind of like the chicken foot, but it doesn't look like the chicken foot. It's a carbon fiber spring plate and torsional plate. It's a spring plate just right here in the forefoot area, so it extends just enough to allow some spring back when you're moving and things like that, a little bit of snap back, if you will. Not too much to the point to where it really hinders flexibility and motion in the forefoot. So if you're thinking about something a little bit more stiff, like an Air Jordan 11 when you first put those on, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be much better. It'll be more similar to the Air Jordan 12, even though 12 is very stiff, but once those break in, man, hot damn, they're awesome. So that's what these kind of feel like, but without the Zoom Air. And again, the fuel cell midsole feels awesome. For those of you guys that don't know, the fuel Outsole stuff is like kind of nitrogen based, so instead of just inserting air into the foam, which creates little air pockets, which is kind of what you pack down as you're moving on the midsoles, when they're made out of nitrogen, they're a little bit stronger than air, so they don't pop as fast, so they don't bottom out as quickly. Now they do have an Ortholite insole. It's a yellow one. This one feels super lightweight. It does not feel as good as the darker blue ones that I can't remember. We just talked about those.
Oh, it was inside of the Jordan 37.
It was, thank you. So yeah, so I do prefer, out of all the Ortholite stuff that I personally tried, I prefer that dark blue one. It's a little bit more dense. This one's a little bit more lightweight, so it's not quite as cheap as the really light blue ones. Those ones are practically fluff. They're useless. But yeah, so this does add a little bit of stepping comfort, but the shoe is super comfortable as it is. So if you wanted to pull this out and put in something that's a little bit more beefy, like a move insole or a different insole altogether, then you can always go ahead and do that. They also come with extra laces, just in case you guys care. They're performance shoes. So I don't really see what the point of this was outside of their extra laces. So if you chew through these, you got a spare. Now the upper is super interesting because it's heavily layered and textured, but with all kinds of shit going on. So this forefoot area is probably my favorite because it reminds me a lot of the Kobe Christmases. So you got a lot of TPU or skin fuse overlays, and then you got these weird little nubs sticking off of it. So it's going to protect the material that's underneath it, which is a really soft material. It feels like almost like a canvas, but it's not. It's like a plasticky textile and everything. So it's still super strong, but again, it can be torn up, especially on a hard court, whether it's basketball or a tennis court and stuff like that. So this whole area is going to really protect that stuff. Very similarly to another Kobe, the Kobe 6. The band also reminds me a little bit of like the Kobe AD. So yeah, I really like these. These are kind of cool. And the midfoot section is real interesting because then you get up to like a James Harden shoe where you got this giant elastic band at the midfoot, but it doesn't kill my feet. So I love that. It just makes it like a nice snug one-to-one fit. And then additionally, you got these nylon straps right here. So you've got different lacing systems all the way throughout. So you're kind of getting a customizable fit throughout the entire throat of the shoe, which I think is awesome. The rest of it in the back is just kind of like textiles. This is basic stuff, but it allows for cool color placement. And then you got some synthetic materials that's overlays. It's not leather, kind of looks like leather. It feels like leather, so I like that. If you're gonna go synthetic, you can go with a good one, and this is a good one. Now, as far as sizing is concerned, they do fit true to size, so whatever you typically order, that's exactly what I would go with. One thing to note is that there feels like a little bit of volume above my foot right here, so when I have them on lengthwise, they feel great, but from the top of my foot to the top of the material, there's a little bit of a disconnect there. It doesn't feel bad, it's just not my ideal fit. I like it to feel like really snug, almost like a sock. Like I can feel that something's there, but that also usually is a good sign for wide footers that you're gonna have a little bit of extra room there. So if you have like a high arch or a high instep, it might work out even with the little band. This is nowhere near as tight as those Hardens, so like it feels more accommodating than anything else. Like it feels like it's supposed to be like I want to say universal, but it's probably not the right word. But yeah, other than that, there's a bunch of little weird Easter eggs, like the Coco thing. It's like tied into here. Oh, you're gonna say that? That's what I was
gonna talk about.
Sorry, go ahead.
As somebody who's been practicing her signature since I was probably like 10 years old, and then to then get married, and then I had to like refigure out my signature. Like I understand being proud of one's signature.
You're married?
I am, to this guy right here. But anyway, so I just thought it was so cool. Like there's some very obvious, like it's the liner, it's on the tongue, it's at the top eyelet.
It's everywhere. It's inside the box.
Yeah, finding it on the
toe,
that was like really cool. I was just like, so when you were going over all of this piece, I was just like, don't do it. Don't do it. And then only for me to get over here and he's just like, her signature's right here.
Sorry. There's also a weird ass basketball on the back. I don't know what that's about. And then you got the Athlete's Foot logo right there. If you know what Athlete's Foot is, man, shout out to you. I know that they're still around somewhere. I just don't know if it's here in the States, but that's where I got my first pair of Air Jordans that I bought for myself. But yeah, if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you probably already know what that pair is. And if you are a longtime viewer of the channel, and again, you're here, man, thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
You complete me.
So if you're looking for something that'll last, this or any other tennis shoe that's made for a hard court surface will do. But anyways, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. And until then, have a good one. What's that? You like my shirt? Well, thank you. This comic book is awesome, but the animated series is better, believe it or not. One of the few times I'll actually say that. Between this and The Boys, that's the one where like the source material, while awesome, the animated or live action versions or representations of them, hot damn, they might be better. But if you were interested in anything from the Invincible stuff, I'll leave a link down below just in case you guys are curious. Have fun.